gain an opportunity to restructure and rebuild their lives. Not with the BS that's being said and the slander that's being called, people are being called. People aren't being helped with that, but there's all the documentation which everybody has, that if everybody sat at a table opposed to in their little so-called meetings and got together and went over it, you would be able to connect the social services to those that are unemployed, to those that need the education, to those that need the health care. It takes strong leadership to do that. And it takes people to be in a position to say, I was wrong and I apologize. But now that we know, what can we do together to fix it? If you wanted to fix it, anybody, Mr. Burgess, you're standing here now. You were there. If people want to fix it, you're going back to deficiencies for 10 and 12 years. Everybody, it's not about pointing fingers.
No,
it's not about pointing fingers. It's about saying he has wisdom. Everybody, I talked to Mr. Tisdale. He has wisdom. Now we know what the issues are. How can we together fix it?
I didn't ask for these.
Those were asked for. I know you didn't ask for them, but I kept hearing about it because my board of directors did not ask me for them. But the bottom line at the end of the day is if people want to fix it, you'll stop having sidebar conversation, get everybody to the table with the documentation, put the programs in motion, and watch the families blossom and your community grow and develop in a way that moves people forward opposed to kicking people out. People are hurting. Mothers can't feed their kids. Y'all don't care about that. Y'all care about your sidebar meetings, but you won't use me as an scapegoat.
If she can't.
And I still work with community, no matter what.
When you write checks, there's no money in the bank, and you know that there's no money in the bank, and you write out $200,000 worth of checks. You were told by this man not to do it, told by the bank not to do it, told by me not to do it, and you turn around and do it, then you can't be surprised when you're asked to leave. I mean, it's pretty simple. And you guys, you want to ask questions, those are the questions you need to be asking. You need to get on top of it. Don't just run around with the noise. Go after the questions. That's why she got dismissed.
Well, you know what, I think, I'm going to say this. I think the nature of everything that has happened, you know, with the Community Action Program, I think for me, is rather troublesome since this is the anniversary of 50 years of the war on poverty. You understand? Jack.
No. You got your name on a letter. You never saw the letter. Somebody signed your name to a letter. That's the problem. That's what you're dealing with.
Jack. We need to move forward
Amen.
in terms of what is the future of the Community Action Program for Lower Fairfield County in regard to the Stanford and Norwalk communities.
And what's the answer?
I don't have the answer.
The answer is simple. Be honest.
Well,
You got to be honest.
okay, but you know what? Hello. I think for me, it should have been straight before the board was restructured March of 2013. Okay? A new board should not have been brought on because the problem existed. I got on the board because I thought that.
But who asked you to get on board?
I got on the board because I saw something in the paper. That's how I came in here. Okay? And I filled out the application. I came in for an interview. Okay, but you
came in innocent as little lambs.
Right. We came in innocent. But at the time that you came in, the problem was there.
Yeah, and the 5 people that caused a lot of problems who left back in July and August started the problem.
Okay, but you can't. But the problem was. But the problem was there when the board was appointed in March.
The problem is simple. You're trying to fix something. You got to fix the people that do what they did to you, what they did to him, what they've done with me, what they've done with this aide. They try to do with this guy, Reverend Jackson. How the hell does somebody send out a letter with your signature on it?
Okay, Jack, I'm saying to you, I apologize to you, but listen, excuse me, we're not staying on point. The point is that there are people in the community who need services.
Cynthia, that is the point.
Okay.
And the point is to rebuild the agency, get money, pay off the debt, and move forward. And that's where we're trying to go. But with negative people on the board trying to pull this thing down, we can't move forward.
Okay, Mike, I got to tell you this. You may perceive it as negative people. I got to tell you, the conversations that I attended were not negative. They weren't pointed to get anybody in trouble. The issue was to try to clarify the direction and the future of services in Lower Fairfield County. Because this is bigger than just me. You know, this is about what is going to be available in a time of economic crisis. People are hurting.
This agency, starting when we came on, was in an economic crisis. Okay? 5 people jumped off the board. I was asked to take over as chairman because I have a business background. And the thing is to see if we could do a turnaround. In the middle of talking about how we could do a turnaround on this agency, we had the whole debacle of the checks, which people could have gotten arrested at that time for letting checks out versus furloughing people. I told at that point the president and CEO of NEON not to give out any checks if there were no funds in the bank.
And also the bank manager told her there were no funds in the bank.
I think it's important to interject that, Ms. Bowser, that what happened was that the then acting president CEO was told not only on one occasion, but on several occasions by Mr. Burkhoff, by Mr. O'Day, by civic and community leaders and elected officials, starting on Saturday, November 2nd, 2013, not to give out any of those checks because there was no money to do so. Chiquita made an effort to get a line of credit, which was denied, and she issued the checks despite the forewarning and the direction of Mr. Burkhoff not to do so. Nobody has said this. There are a string of emails, a string of text messages that will support that was told to Chiquita not to do. There's a string of text messages.
So in the meantime, on the turnaround of this company, the amount of hours that we have been putting in, meetings with attorneys, meetings with government officials in both Stanford and Norwalk, to be able to put a structure together to move this thing forward so that what happened now doesn't happen again. So let's not talk about going back. Let's not look back. We've got to look forward if we're going to rebuild it. And that's all we've been working on, is putting a mapping in place on how we could take this forward, how we could get funding for it. You've seen in the last 30 days, we've been able to get money from the government to rebuild this at $1.3 million to be able to build the infrastructure and get other programs. During the time that the last president and CEO was here, we lost Head Start, we lost Child Readiness, we lost DOC, we lost...
Okay, but you lost those programs based on the decision that was made back in 2011. Because in 2011, when the merger took place, I don't feel sufficient investigation was conducted.
Correct, but what do we do? Let's not go back to 2011. We're here where we are.
But I got to tell you something. You can't let Chiquita take the fall for all of this because it wasn't her fault.
It wasn't, and I'll be the first one to say there was nobody that supported Chiquita more than I. And you heard me say when I came on the board, what was the biggest downfall of NEON? When Mayor Moshe pulled the $1.3 million for 2 years in a row, what should have been done? You've heard me say it how many times? The programs for Norwalk should have been cut. At that point, the board who was in place at that time and the management staff should have been smart enough to see what was coming.
Okay, I'm not going to say not that they weren't smart. I'm going to say this. Maybe
they were not fiscally responsible. How could you keep giving the services when you don't have the money coming in? Okay,
then my question to you is, where was Kafka and where was the support coming in to help them make the appropriate choices and decisions?
I don't know.
Because there was supposed to be some oversight there. I just don't want to continue to blame everybody.
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying, let's not look back. Let's move forward, okay? We are where we are now. We can talk about the past all we want. I came on in July as a board member, and when the 5 people resigned, I was asked to take over as chairman. I had nothing to do at that point with the merger of 2011. I had nothing to do with Kafka. I didn't know Kafka existed. I didn't know what DSS was about. I came on for only one thing, because I thought the programs that NEON was giving for the public were necessary, and they were all great programs. That's the only reason that I came on the board. Because I thought I could help move this forward. I never thought that we would be in the crisis that we're in, and I would have to put in the hours that I've put in. This is harder than turning around the company, especially when you have a board of people that, you know, are fighting. You have a disgruntled board here.
No, I'm not going to say that it's a disgruntled board.
Absolutely.
I think, Mike, I think the board is confused. You lost 5 members. You came in allegedly on a unified front. It appeared that the agency was in pretty good shape. I guess really until August, you kind of figured out that there might be some problems, and you thought that additional money was coming in.
When I took over as chairman, there was nobody that spent more time taking the past president and CEO up to Hartford and fighting with DSS and fighting with Kafka and fighting with the other entities strictly on her behalf.